Well, I didn't schedule a live or anything like that, but I guess I just want to start off and say hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel because eventually people will see this, and I still want to welcome everyone to my channel. But I do want to just come on here because today makes 1 week since the loss of one third of the Migos group, Takeoff, and it still feels like November 1st. It still feels that way. And the only other video that I've ever made like this was from the loss of Pop Smoke in 2020. And it's been over 2 years. We're coming on 3 years, and time just continues to fly. And me, like everyone else, loves to listen to rap music, hip hop. I listen to almost everything, with the exception of rock music for the most part. But I listen to a lot of different genres of music, and um, who doesn't like listen to the Migos? So I just wanted to come on here because it had just been weighing on me, and I wanted to talk about it um, and just talk about my opinions. I've watched so many videos over this past week, and I tried to kind of like skip over the real BS videos. Um, but I just kind of wanted to give my take on what I think is happening, and hopefully what I'm seeing makes sense. Um, but yeah, so Takeoff's government name is Kershnik Karibal, and he's a Gemini, just like me. My birthday is on June 16th, and his birthday is June 18th, 1994. He passed away. He was pronounced dead on November 1st, 2022. He died at age 28. So I wrote a bunch of notes here because there were a lot of things that was on my mind in regards to this. And I was just like, I don't want to leave anything out because similar to the Pop Smoke video that I made, like I just wanted to make sure I made one video and called it a day. Um, but I also just kind of want to emphasize that I might not be like, let's say, DJ Academics and make 10 videos, on the same thing, but like I'm still feeling the loss, even for people that I don't even know. And especially when you're a Gemini, like I go hard for my Geminis. I love Geminis, and Geminis in general get a bad rep. Um, so it's like celebrities, Tupac and I share the same birthday. So every time I post something about my birthday, I always say happy birthday to Tupac because as far as I know, there's no other celebrity that has my birthday. But, even let's say Mr. West, he's a Gemini. Part of me still continues to, really like him. And, I go hard for my Geminis. And I didn't know that Takeoff was a Gemini. But, anyways, to get into what happened and just feeling sorry for the loss and literally feeling it in my chest. And I've listened to so many videos, watched so many videos, read so many comments over this past week. It was driving me really crazy. Um, but I wanted to talk about it and just talk about the fact that it is currently being pushed as an accident, and I don't necessarily like that that's the thing that's being spun as it being an accident. I personally don't believe, and I'm only sharing my opinions here. My opinions are not affiliated with any institutions that I'm associated with or anything like that. I don't believe that it was an accident. And again, a lot of other comments were saying very similar things to what I believe. that an accident would mean one bullet, maybe two bullets, but there's a slew of bullets being shot in one space, and the likelihood of it not hitting anyone is extremely low. And just to give you an example, I'm from the Bronx. I came from the Bronx. I've been raised in the Bronx my entire life. And when I was growing up as a teenager, there was a girl. I wasn't familiar with her like that, but um, the guy that I was dating at the time and his crew were very like close to her or cool with her, and there just happened to be somebody shooting um, somewhere in the Bronx, uptown, and the bullet went through her window and shot her in the head and killed her. That is what I consider an accident. Granted, no one should be shooting anyway, but things like that, that would be a freak accident. That would be what I consider an accident. In this case, I don't think it was an accident. And I also just wanted to touch on the point that I don't think you should ever put anything past anyone. And I talk about that from my own personal experience and what I was dealing with before I lost my mom and even after I lost my mom. And I don't necessarily want to go through it in this video, but losing my mom and realizing and seeing people for what they were and seeing how no one was trying to help me save her, even people who are family, like you really can't put anything past anyone. And in general, everyone has a price for the most part. I can't speak for everyone, but for the most part, everyone has a price and people can be bought. And so I wanted to just like bring that to the light that you really can't put anything past anybody. And we don't know what really happened, but I truly don't believe it was an accident, and I'll leave it there. Um, and then even the concept of Black Lives Mattering, I don't think that Black lives matter to other Black lives. And I think that that is really the problem at this point. And no, um, I'm not going to like pull up any pictures or any videos. There are plenty of videos and pictures going on at this point about the loss of Takeoff, but I don't think that we respect each other. And I'll just, even talking about Pop Smoke, I'll bring that up again. I had posted a few times on my social media, on my Instagram, that we really need to stop killing each other. And I don't really post like that. I'm just a regular schmegula girl from the Bronx, and you know, people don't really be messaging me like that. But when I posted that, I got a lot of DMs of people, Black people, women and men, being outraged that I would even say something like that, and that it's not about that, it's about the police killing us. And essentially that was the response from almost everyone, that that's not what I should be focused on. I need to be focused on the police. But in the grand scheme of things, when you kill your people, you are doing their job. If you want to say that that's their job, you're doing that for them. So I don't like chalking things up to the streets, because the streets don't have to be like that. They don't have to be, they just don't have to be that way. But that's how society set it up, and we're not really doing anything to make any changes. And then I also just wanted to touch on the issue from Gilly the Kid and how he was complaining about people posting pics. I personally did not go on Twitter, because sometimes my curiosity will make me go on Twitter and talk about and you know, watch things that are very low vibrational and make me feel worse than I already do. And I decided I wasn't going to go and see see Takeoff's body. Um, but Gilly the Kid was extremely upset about, people posting celebrities and their last moments and so on and so forth. And I understand where he's coming from, but I also think that people do that even for regular people who are not celebrities, and it doesn't bother them. So if posting people's last moments is really an issue, it should be not just people who are celebrities, but for everyone. No one deserves to have a camera shoved in their face when they're taking their last breaths. In this case, I'm sorry that it ever happens, but it does happen. Um, and then I also just wanted to talk about um, the 911 call, supposedly, because again, I'm not always on social media, so I don't always know what's going on, but I'm listening to different videos and people's different opinions. And there was one thing that was going around about um, a 911 phone call that, there was supposedly or allegedly a nurse that was present at this bowling party, and the 911 call that someone was asking, what does the nurse need to do? And if that is the case, that was a little bit disturbing to me, because as medical professionals, everyone has to go through ACLS training, um, and I don't know if there were any chest compressions done. I don't know if, people were actively trying to save his life. And I understand that there's people get headshots a lot, and some people live and some people don't. I don't know the severity of, whether it was an instant type of thing where, he just instantly bled out. Did anyone try to stop the bleeding? I don't know what happened, but I started to think, like, if you're asking what does she need to do, health professionals are trained to do things in serious situations. Chest compressions being one of the first ones. If you don't have any drugs around, taking off your shirt and trying to stop the bleeding, tying up the area if it was the torso or whatever the case is. But I'm not sure because I wasn't there. But I felt that that was a little odd. Um, and then, obviously, like, looking at the most recent video, the Messy video, and how there was a lot of foreshadowing there, and even his last Instagram story with the Playboy Cardi song "Stop Breathing." I just, all of that just seems too coincidental for me. Um, First of all, that song is from 2020, and in general, not saying that you can't use an old song for your background music, but in general, you usually will put like more recent songs on your stories. Every once in a while, I'll put on a Michael Jackson or Whitney Houston or something. But a lot of times, for myself and for everyone else who posts on social media, it's usually the more current songs. So I found it interesting that a song from 2020, a Playboy Cardi song from 2020, is what was decided for that last story. And it's just like, are they trying to play in our faces? Is the music industry, and excuse me, is the music industry trying to play in our faces? Because they clearly don't care about Black lives. They care about the money that is made and generated from Black lives, living and not living. Um, yeah, okay. So something else that I just found so, like, saddening about it is just hearing how good of a person, how good of a human being Takeoff was. And so many people had posted, they wish that they had gotten a chance to meet him. And that was one of the things that I also said to myself, like, I'm not a celebrity, but I wish I had gone to a concert. I wish I had gotten a chance to meet someone who, from everyone, commonly, he's a great person and he's just laid back and so on. And so what scares me is just thinking, did he even want to be at that party? From eyewitnesses, he wasn't participating in any gambling. He was just kind of to himself, minding his business. And did he not even want to be there? You know, he talks about God a lot, as you can see in like a lot of like clips and interviews. He talks about his connection with God and how much he believes in God. And sometimes it just constantly started to make me think, you know, how in tune was Takeoff with God? How in tune was he with his spirit? What did he really want to go to this bowling party? Did he feel like he probably shouldn't go, but maybe his uncle Quavo really wanted to go and then he ignored his gut and he went, and this is how things happen? You know, I don't necessarily want to say set up, but it seems like that, at least in my opinion, and I'm only going to be sharing my opinions. It seems like a setup because if Quavo is walking away, granted, he said something that could be triggering to people, like, before I hurt somebody, did it necessarily warrant the response that he got by saying that? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But then I think to myself, in this case, in the case that it is a setup, they know that even if Takeoff is a laid back person and he doesn't play around with people, he's not into no mess, they know that he's gonna ride for his uncle. So if somebody's about to hit his uncle, he's going to run and have his back. And supposedly that's when things really started popping off. So sound to me sounds like a setup. And you know, I'm really sad to see that all of this happened. Just everything has just been extremely spooky and eerie. The power of the tongue has been extremely, very like, people have really been talking about how serious it is to make sure you watch what you say because you never know what type of energy you're putting out there. And it's just it this whole thing is just really, it's just really weird. The last point that I wanted to bring up in this video is being in school. At this point in time, I am being in school as a Black student. At this point in time, I'm working on my third graduate degree. And um, seriously, as soon as something happens, when there's a loss in the Black community, George Floyd, for example, the loss of Takeoff, the loss of Pop Smoke, the loss of people who are celebrities in the Black community, that tends to cause a lot of pain and anguish to Black people who are invested, especially in music. At least for myself, I can say that I'm heavily invested in these celebrities that I do not know. I'm not saying I don't necessarily go to concerts, especially since COVID. I'm not trying to be around a lot of people like that, but I am still relatively heavily invested in these people as if I know them. And maybe also being an empath, you tend to just feel a lot of that energy when you lose someone from the Black community. And it tends to cause a lot of roundtables, if I should say, because even with the Mr. West situation and him losing all of that money, I ended up sitting down with several other Black students and talking about, you know, the situation that's going on. And you know, why is it that he lost all his deals by speaking about this group of people, but when he spoke about slavery being a choice, nothing was done to him? um, and I say all that to say, even for example, I'm gonna bring this up because this is a video that is constantly burned in my head. For anyone who ever watched the video of Alton Sterling, who was killed by police, there are things that white students don't have to deal with. There are things that, you know, essentially, even if you are, you know, going for the same degree and you're working twice as hard to get half of what white students get, you essentially have to deal with being a Black student. And if you have social media, because most of us do, dealing with the things that may affect you mentally on social media. timelines. If you're on Twitter and Twitter has no cap, Twitter has no like censorship, at least until Elon Musk gets through with whatever he wants to do, tends to not have any censorship. And you tend to see a lot of things that really can mess up your day, really can mess up your vibe. And to think about, again, I didn't choose to go to Twitter and see Takeoff's body, but things like that really mess with you. And sometimes I start to think, is this all kind of like part of society's plan to kind of get Black students so messed up, if I should even say, and so like kind of focused. It's hard to focus when, your people are dying. Things are so unfair. And I can't even tell you how many times I had to show or talk to white students, my fellow students that are white, talk to them about, things that are going on in the Black community, and they have no idea. They're just skating on through life and, being able to focus. And, and it's really upsetting because you're not just dealing with, things that are going on in the Black community, but you're also dealing with, you know, inequalities and disparities that are going on in your personal life. And again, having those roundtables and talking about things like the loss of people in your community, that takes away time from studying. But it's something that has to be discussed because you need a place to bring your emotions. You need the people around you to be able to discuss that so you could finally get it off your chest. But it's something that students that aren't from this community don't necessarily have to deal with, and I think that really sucks. So in closing, his funeral, Takeoff's funeral, is coming up on Friday. I don't know if it's going to be televised. I most likely will watch it. It's on 11/11. Just looking at my calendar on the wall. But I just wanted to end with saying, like, no matter how good you are as a person, there's always going to be people that are jealous of you and hate you for being good. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know you. They don't know what got you here. They don't know the hard work and the internal work that you had to do to be a good person, but they're going to hate you because you're good. They're going to hate you because they see your shining light, and they're going to try to blow out your candle. Long live Takeoff. He had his whole life ahead of him, and he was taken away. The reason behind it, I'm not sure. But I wanted to share this video because it was really sitting on my chest heavy, and I hope I got everything out. Yeah, I was going to say something else in regards to academics, but I'm going to leave it there. So thank you so much for watching, and don't feel free to comment down below. Hopefully what I said has resonated with you, and maybe you feel the same way, but I'm definitely sad, and I know this is going to take some time. So rest in peace, Takeoff. Thanks for watching.